Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally, and today we are reprising podcast style Wally, where I'm just going to talk, not do any fancy editing or goofballery. We're going to just talk about some of the dialogue and discourse that's been going on with the recent change with regard to beards. I have seen some really interesting takes. I would say the one that confuses me the most, and that I didn't believe that there would be that amount of people that would say it, is, well, I grew up with people that had beards for decades. For 20 years ago, I knew someone that had a beard. Okay, that's cool, but show me a Watchtower video in that time period where anyone that was in good standing had a beard. Show me a circuit overseer or a Bethelite that had a beard. That would be argument number one. Argument number two, if they didn't have a policy against wearing a beard in the past, then what were they trying to change? Why would Stephen Lett need to even make the announcement? The announcement tells you that they had a policy about beards. So yes, maybe there were some isolated incidences here and there where people were allowed to have a beard and give public talks and this, that, and the third. But as an organization, this is absolutely a massive change. One of the other things that I've seen, which I think is really interesting, is are women going to be allowed to wear pants? So that's something that, like, just wearing like the business suit for a woman, I think that would be something that might be addressed sooner rather than later. I'm thinking, but we'll have to see. With all of these changes, though, I think there is one massive conclusion that we can probably reasonably get to, and that's Toni Morris was a roadblock. At the end of the day, it seems obvious, at least to me, that they bring in 2 new governing body members. Now they have the proper voting power. They can get him out of the way because he was not down with the changes and the direction that they were trying to take Watchtower, because it's clear now Watchtower is moving in a different direction, which is not uncommon. They go from being the Bible students to being Jehovah's Witnesses, and then not being so much known as Jehovah's Witnesses, but more as Watchtower. And then they go from Watchtower to JW.org, and it's like, okay, you go from Russell to Rutherford to Knorr to the current governing body structure. And what's kind of the next phase that we're going to enter into? And I think we're in that transition period. It's something I think I've been saying for a while, is we're transitioning into the next form of Watchtower, or JW.org, I suppose I should call it. But I do think that it is interesting how it's just a matter of leadership. This is something that I said like a year ago when I made a video about how Jehovah's Witnesses can't have beards, but they can have mustaches. It's not really about what's in the Bible. It's about who's in charge of Watchtower at that time, because the Bible is a puppet. At the end of the day, all of these policies that people will talk about, or that ex-Jehovah's Witnesses will talk about, like, well, I never thought they would make that change. Well, I know they'll never change this because it's directly in the Bible. Remember, the Bible's just their little puppet. So when it comes to shunning, when it comes to the blood policy, they could just flip those things around real quick, because when they changed counting time, that was always justified as being a biblical thing. They justified it using the Bible. When they said, oh, you can't really have beards if you want to be, they justified that by using the Bible. So they're always going to use the Bible to justify whatever they want to do. So I think it's just kind of interesting to have sort of our little fanfic predictions about where the organization is going to go from here. So my prediction is for the next big change, and comment down below what you think the next big change is going to be. But a lot of you guys mentioned it already, but I agree. I think it's holidays and birthdays. I think that one's so easy to get around, and also it helps with retention because you're not making kids feel so isolated. Now, what is that going to mean for like the Caleb and Sophia videos? Those won't age very well. But as we know, Watchtower is more than happy to just erase videos and pretend like something never existed and be like, oh, well, I mean, that was old light. That was in the past. It doesn't really matter. And that's the great thing about being Watchtower leaders, is you can just do anything you want, and people just have to go along with it. Hi, buddy. So one thing that I've seen from people commenting is talking about bringing this up to current Jehovah's Witnesses. And it's kind of falls on a spectrum, right? You have the people that are like, oh, this is just new light, and now we can wear beards. This is what God wants us to do now. Before he didn't want it, now he does want it. What is happening? What are you good? My brother in Christ. And then there are other people that are sort of offended by it, and that is what Stephen Lett addresses in the latter half of this talk. So maybe I'll just clip that in now, because we'll just go a little bit off topic with totally podcast Wally here. But yeah, so let's just look at what he says addressing this sort of spectrum of how Jehovah's Witnesses are going to take this new news. To be slick, I wasn't planning on editing that in, but ZZ was being so irritating. And I'm hoping if I put his tree here and give him lots of scratches and attention, that he'll stop hitting my keyboard. Because when he hits the keyboard, things go wrong.
Well, after viewing this program, some might have to contend with strong feelings. For example, some might feel as though they've been vindicated, saying, in effect, "This is what I've been saying for a long time. This proves that I was right all along." Others might feel disappointed, saying, in effect, "I supported the policy about grooming for all those years. Now I feel let down." But is either reaction appropriate?
So the governing body are pretty well aware of the reaction that this is going to get, because you are absolutely going to have people, and like some of the ones you guys have mentioned in the comments, people that have been wearing a beard maybe for years now, and they're going to be like, "See, I done diddly told you. I was right all along." And those people are right to do so. That is the correct position. If you're right all along, say, "Hey, I was right all along." You don't have to suddenly make it seem like, well, no, even though you were right, you were still wrong. That is the trickery that Stephen Lett is trying to engage upon here, as we'll see in a second. And then the other one is the angry witness. That's the other one, like, "Oh, I can't believe this. I've wanted to have a beard for this long, and I wasn't able to do it. And now finally you're telling me, and there was other people having beards, and we could have been having beards this whole time, and it wasn't even in the Bible. What in tarnation is going on around here?" Like, that is just going to be another natural reaction that people have. So let's see how he tries to explain away how people should feel about this news that's coming out, because governing body loves nothing more than to tell you how you should feel about something.
Well, if we've been promoting our own opinion on this subject, contradicting the guidance from the organization.
Just want everyone to know, I did not add in this slow, dramatic zoom. This is something that Watchtower has done, so we can run it back, but I just want to let you guys know, this is done for dramatic effect. This is the thing they really want you to focus in on.
Well, if we've been promoting our own opinion on this subject, contradicting the guidance from the organization, have we been promoting unity? Have we helped the brotherhood to be completely united in the same line of thought? Clearly not. Any who've done so need to adjust their thinking and attitude. On the other hand, if we've loyally supported the organization's direction over the years, do we have any scriptural reason to regret our course? Certainly not. Jehovah values our loyal service, He also appreciates our humble willingness to be obedient and submissive to the direction we receive from God's organization.
So this is basically what everything boils down to when it comes to being a Jehovah's Witness. Loyalty to this organization, no matter what. Whether or not you think they're right, whether or not you think they're wrong, doesn't matter. Don't be proud that you were right. Don't feel bad that you or have regret, as he says. Just be loyal, keep your head down, shut up, and do exactly what we tell you. Here you have grown men that have been living their entire lives not wanting to have beards, and now someone has told them, okay, I guess it's fine. We will allow you to have beards now. And they'll all be jumping and clapping up and down saying, yeehaw, we get to have beards now. And that is the life of a Jehovah's Witness. It's absolutely sad. But the other thing that was curious, which I don't know if he's losing it or if he never had it, but when he's talking about, having unity within the whole brotherhood, and if you had this attitude, it could be having disunity. Well, the problem with not being unified was that the direction wasn't unified and wasn't clear. In some countries, like the Netherlands or Ireland or in Europe, it was okay for people to have beards. And then in other countries, it was looked down upon. Even in some local areas within the United States, there might have been a little bit of variance. So that disunity was no fault of the people. It was the fault of the organization for not having clear, concise, definitive rules, which they now have. But the thing is the organization will never say, hey, we're sorry, our rules weren't clear enough. It's always, hey, if you're one of those people that's been preaching this, that it's okay, well, don't get on your high horse. They always blame the individual people because they want you to do the exact same thing in everything in your life. They want you to look inwards and blame yourself for everything. It's never the organization's fault. It's always your fault. Absolutely ridiculous.
Similarly, the governing body today is striving to promote unity. We would never want the matter of beards to cause division among us.
See what I mean? It's never the governing body's fault. He can just sit there and say, we would never allow something like beards to cause division, even though they have allowed the matter of beards to cause division for decades. These people never apologize. They never make it seem like they've done anything wrong. It's so unbelievably frustrating, and I'm hoping that with this, some Jehovah's Witnesses are going to see this and be able to call it for what it is. This level of control is so unhealthy, right down to whether or not you have facial hair. I mean, really get your noodle around that. God creates people with the ability to grow beards, and then somehow randomly says, no, we don't want you to have beards? Then why did he create us with that ability? It's similar to the whole circumcision thing. Like, what are we talking about? It makes no sense. Oh, but anyway, I just wanted to do a little bit of podcast ranting, Wally. I know it's not for everyone, so that's okay. But yeah, just some things that I wanted to discuss, and I'm fascinated to see where the organization does end up going from here. And I'm along for the ride. So hope you enjoyed this, and stay safe, be kind, and don't forget to smile and do the thing.